If this is too uncomfortable for you to hear, if this is too awkward, if you feel attacked, honestly speaking, I'm not here to make you feel comfortable. I'm not here to make you feel, oh my God. I'm not here to make you feel I'm not here to make you feel comfortable. I'm here to speak the truth. And I believe there are so many people obviously out there that's speaking the truth. They are standing for the good thing. Whether they are North Africans, Middle Eastern, or can be also a Pakistani, Nepali, whatever Asian region you are, from the Muslim community. And
Shalom, 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 brothers and sisters. I hope you're doing fine wherever you are today. So as usual, this is your presenter, Eugene Turkey Stories. And today there is an elephant in the house that we need to address. That is talking about racism in the Arab world. And I know a lot of creators have covered this topic at the same time. But again, there is some underlying issues that we still feel like we need to talk about as people from the black community. So, you know, it is so sad that people living in whitewashed societies, to the extent that some people want to change their skin color if they could. Some people want to bleach their skin if they could, just to fit in a society. And they end up losing themselves trying to be other people who they shouldn't be. And what am I talking about today? Today's video I'm going to present is Arab woman. She's saying that she was born in Tunisia, but most of her life she has spent overseas, and with that, somebody close to her family has faced racism, and she felt like it's good to check it out there to the society for people to talk about. And in the same video, she also calls out her family at some point for acting in a colorism way. And I'm wondering, when will this narrative end, because it keeps on recurring, it keeps on happening. And also, what I'm going to do also in this video, I'm going to give my perspective about what I feel about this, because at some point I also felt like she confused about being an Islam and being an Arab. You know, being an Islam and being an Arab, they're two different entities. We have Arabs who are not Muslims, you know, but most of Arabs are Muslims. So in as much as it might be happening, but it's all about colorism and generally racism, and feeling like because of you're of this color, you are not any much better. And this also reminds me some things which happened back in Africa, or I used to see some people doing. Remember some people who, man, this was crazy, but I opt to say it on after this video, because I want us to watch this video and then I'll come up with a critical analysis about this issue, because I feel like we need to talk about this discourse. It is long due that now we need to talk about it in now a different way, because I've seen creators trying to talk about this, trying to want people not to go to Dubai. But what about people who now have families with these people? What about people who are black but now have engaged with these people? I'm talking about people in the Dubai, I'm talking about Tunisians, I'm talking about people from the North Africa. What about them? What about people who have their family in there? So stay tuned as you watch this video, and then come back, and then I'll come back and then say something about it. So let's dive into it.
So growing up in Germany as as an ethnic person, as an immigrant child, I never saw myself actually as an immigrant child or as someone who's an outcast. I never ever had any encounters, any racist movements, maybe on a later stage, but they never really bothered me. But in my family, we are 4 siblings. 3, me, my sister, and my brother have pretty much light skin, like super white, and my 4th and youngest brother has actually a dark skin, which is, nowadays you can say he's, I don't know, he's light skin for someone who's African, but he is pretty dark skinned for me, or compared to me and my siblings, and compared also for the Tunisian world. So okay, let me get the for the North African world. He might not even feel the way I felt when I used to hear comments about his color when he was younger. People used to say, "Oh, he looks Pakistani." You know, sometimes the problem is in the North African, and maybe also the Arab or every community. Actually, I'm not gonna pin it down to or narrow it down to us. They give comments without thinking how the other person feels, without any thoughts of how that might affect someone. I heard he looks like Pakistani, he's too dark. In Tunis, he told me himself, once he got slapped actually by a policeman because the policeman did not understand how on earth someone that dark, and I'm not saying my brother is super dark. Obviously, if you would see pictures, you would be like, what's wrong with you? But he is actually dark compared to us, like I said. So for a Tunisian policeman, he was not understanding why. He told him literally, someone with your color lives in Germany and I am in Tunis. And these things just stick with me. And even like at the immigration, my brother and my other brother are being together and, you know, giving the passport for the security. It's always the same. There's no way this is your brother. There's no way this is your sister. There's no way you guys are family. Like, because he's the dark child and we are all like the white kids in the family. That's why when I grew up, I never ever saw color. I never understood there is really a difference between me and my brother or between me and my cousin who is super dark. I never thought it's an issue. It hurt me so bad when I heard these comments towards my brother. He used to also tell me obviously that the police in Germany would also stop him every now and then, just obviously based on him being a guy and an immigrant child and looks super dark with his beard as a Muslim guy in Europe. I have never ever been stopped. I have never ever been dealt with in a bad way. I'm a Muslim girl who wears hijab ever since I'm 11. I should also be actually affected by these attributes that I show to the world. However, I have never been. But growing up, having someone in your family actually going through that racism is so made me feel like, not I have to speak up for every single person, it just did not make sense to me how on earth is someone that looks just slightly different than us is treated in a completely different way. And I started noticing this because when I got older, obviously, and I used to go to the beach, to Tunis, and like I said, I enter Tunis, I'm like a white kid. Obviously, I go to the beach on a daily basis and I come out being, you know, super, super tan and super dark. And my family, and I remember this neighbor, she would always say, oh my God, you used to be so pretty. What happened to you in the last couple of weeks? Now you're so, you know, they don't want to say ugly, but so, ooh, like do something. You know, we have specific creams in Tunis and specific masks that keeps you white and all that mentality that a white person or someone with a lighter skin, let's not say white person because we still obviously not white people, but someone with a lighter skin has always is always more beautiful, is always more pure. Many people want to speak to them, many people want to surround themselves with, and if you're dark, technically, oh yeah, he's nice, she's cute, but I mean, come on, she's a dark girl. You know, how many comments did I hear about, yeah, he's gonna marry this, yeah, but she's dark. Wallahi. And okay, let's continue. The problem is that some people don't even know they are racist, and the comments that are giving, and the comments that are, you know, the words that are coming out of their mouth are so hurtful. I really do not understand how someone else feels, because I'm not in their shoes. I'm not black, I'm not even brown, and I feel it deep in my heart and I feel it deep in my soul that you make someone else feel less worthy than you because his color. I find it very funny because to other people, there is always someone who's whiter than you, and there's always someone who's darker than you. So technically, if these, you know, in my childhood, these comments have been made, I always wanted to say, because I was too young, obviously I never said something, and I'm like, in my head, but a German person thinks I'm dark, and I'm white for an old North African girl, and maybe a Finnish girl, you know, a German person is way too dark for her, because Finnish and Swedish people or the Nordics are, you know, so white that you can barely see them. It's like, there is always someone who's lighter than you. Go to Syria and Lebanon, you will see girls that are so white, and so what? I'm not even going to go into details about the first call of prayer in the times of the Prophet Muhammad, Bilal, who was dark. He was a freed slave, and he was called by the Prophet to make the adhan as the first ever call to prayer mu'adhin, we would say, do you think back in the days they cared about black and not black? They cared, but I'm talking about the Prophet, I'm talking about the Islam, I'm talking about our religion, that we constantly say, oh my God, that, you know, the people who would, what bugs me is the people who are praying and believing in God, and the people who are crying in the Taraweeh and during Ramadan, Tahajjud, and all these things, Salat al-Jumu'ah, or the Friday prayers. People would cry and people would ask God for forgiveness, and people would, I don't know, feed the needy and stuff, not knowing their foundation in life is based on being a goddamn racist. And when I always used to ask my friends and be like, dude, that comment you just made is unbelievable. They say, no, I'm not a racist, but I mean, I don't have to be friends with him. I'm not racist, but I don't want my daughter to marry a black guy, just period. Why? Give me a reason. Why do you think that is, or how do you think, give me a reason how do you think that's not a racist comment? That's deep down in you, that you think you are better than someone else based on their color. And let's not even talk about the Indians, the Pakistanis, the Nepalis. That's a whole different discussion with the Arabs, or even the North Africans. Really, I'm not sure, because I never had a discussion with them. And when you tell them, for me, because I noticed even way worse racism. There's a difference between racism in North Africa, 100%, and the racism in the Middle East and the Arab world is a whole different level. I can tell you that the racism in North Africa is really based on lack of knowledge. No one thinks I'm better than the other person. No one thinks I'm higher, I'm whiter, because obviously towards the end we're all Africans, or you are Amazigh, or I don't know, your blood is Arab, or whatever they think they are. I had an encounter, for example, with my mom. I mean, when you start being honest, you have to be honest all the way. This encounter happened, I don't know, 10 years ago, I believe. And one of my, okay, I think my sister will not like this, but she was in a relationship with someone who was African American, but he was Muslim. So obviously I grew up all my life never ever having any discussions about racism, because my dad raised me in a way that I'm Muslim, period. I have not even been raised as you are Muslim Sunni, you are following the Maliki madhab, you are this and this color, your great-grandparents are Arab or Amazigh or whatsoever. I have never had these discussions with my father. He just made sure we identify as human and Muslim, and I cannot thank God and my parents for that really, like, if I see my friends and all the people around me, all the discussions and all the topics about them being, I don't know, they are this, they are that, but no, I'm this and that, and I'm always the only one in the group. I'm like, why does it even matter? It's cool to know what you are, it's cool to know your DNA or your ancestors, but why does it even matter? Because once that discussion starts, it's not gonna end. You think you're better than this person, you think you're better than the Moroccan person, or the Syrian person thinks he's better than, I don't know, the Jordanian, and the Jordanian thinks he's better than a Khaliji. It's not gonna end. That's why I love the way I have been raised, and I have been blind to colors, religions, whatever. You are a goddamn human. So this encounter was, like I said, my sister was engaged. No, the guy wanted to, ask for her hand in marriage, and she told my mom. And my mom found out he is African American. She didn't understand what it means, obviously, back in the days. So we said, yeah, he's black. I didn't think we did have to say that, but it just, happened that we said that. And she was shocked. She was so shocked that it's not gonna happen. She couldn't find words that it's really gonna happen in her own family, that her own daughter is being with African American. The funny part is she didn't even realize what she's saying is racist. That's why I'm telling you, there's a huge difference between you are really deep down hardcore racist and what you say, you know what you say, and you still continue, proving your point, or you just really didn't realize what you say is so bad and so wrong that actually you're considered racist. So I remember I had my sister-in-law. She's been discussing the topic with my mom, and I obviously as well, because at that time I was living in America, and it is really not easy to make someone understand their point of views. Because when I used to tell her, Mom, what you say, and I was infuriated, I was so sad, I was so shocked, it hurt me so bad that my own mom thinks that way, where the entire family doesn't think that way, considering my brother is being dark as well. But the comment would be like, yeah, but my son is he's cute, he's cute, he's I don't know what. And the amount of time that we took the time to speak to my mom, to make her understand. And when I just said one sentence actually, and she felt so bad, and subhanAllah, it changed her perception from today to tomorrow. It changed her perception overnight. You can really make someone give him a wake-up call or a slap in the face, without obviously slapping your parents. And I told her, I'm not gonna give you, Mom, I'm not gonna give you, what happened back in the days with the Prophet and Bilal and Mu'adhin and all that, the story that we always bring up when it comes to black people. Allah, who created me, you, and the whole world. He created also obviously the Africans, the Indians, the Pakistanis. If you are refusing someone based on his skin color, forget even the fact that you're racist. You are refusing and rejecting what God created. Sorry, let that sink in. You are refusing what Allah created. He decided that I have the skin color. He decided that that person is going to be African hardcore, because obviously we have light skin, we have dark skin. He is deciding on every single thing on earth. How do you think you have a different say in this? And then it really hits you. If you are a true believer, you switch in a second. Because her reason was, I was never really aware, and her comments was obviously, I know that my parents are not racist, and I know a lot of North Africans are not racist. They are just not used to have Africans around them. My mom never was raised with Africans. She never saw them in Tunis. She just sees them on TV, for example, maybe the rap music video clips, etc. And with time, she is so shocked actually how other people think about it. I said, Mom, remember back in the days how you used to see it? You're not a racist. It's just you were not really educated. So number one, you really have to educate people around you, your parents, your friends, your colleagues, whatsoever. They might not be racist, they just don't see the full picture. However, on the other side, we do have the big racists in the Middle East, where I lived for 7 years. I saw with my own eyes, I heard, and I know, even if I would have discussions with them, they say, I don't care. He is African, I don't care. He is Pakistani, I don't care. He is Indian. As if you, as an Arab with your light skin, have a higher stage in Jannah compared to these people with a slightly darker color. Honestly speaking, and this video could go on and on and on and on, we could actually completely sum this up. And I swear to God, if people, every single Muslim person who considers himself Muslim, a believer, I'm not just saying you've been born Muslim. This topic is obviously more addressed to the Muslim people, not to the whole human race. Because we have one thing that can diminish the way we think completely in a second. I swear to God, if you sit down with yourself, if you think just about one thing, first of all, Allah, obviously, who created you, the blacks, the people of color, the browns, I don't know what, who, every single thing, the stones, the trees, the leaves, the animals, everything. He created and he chose. I'm not going to tell you, be grateful that you got the skin color, because that skin color means nothing. That doesn't mean you are a better believer. It doesn't mean that you are better than anyone. It doesn't mean that you are, more pious or more religious. Actually, it means that you are less religious than other people because you have this point of view in life. If you just think for maybe, I swear to God, 15 seconds, that you are having a discussion with the Prophet, and you are in the presence of the Prophet, and you would have this discussion and say, I'm sorry, this guy cannot marry my daughter. I'm sorry, that person, I cannot even sit with him. He's too dark. I don't want him in my house. I don't want anything to do with him. They are less than me. I'm better. I have a whiter skin. Just imagine yourself, you're sitting in the presence of the Prophet ﷺ, and you say these words. Won't you feel ashamed? Not you feel ashamed. Don't you think the Prophet would be so ashamed and disappointed to a level that you would just want to vanish in a second that you even had that thought once in your life? If people would just seriously think they could one day see the Prophet and have this discussion with them, but they really will continue to think, oh no, my opinion is still right, knowing that they're being racist and knowing racism is not okay at any point in Islam. Because once you reject that person, once you think you are higher than someone else or you are better than someone else, I fail to understand how people think that way, and I fail to understand how they say they are religious, and I fail to understand that there are really the people who go to Mecca, who do the tawaf, people who are, doing their sujood, people who are praying to God. I fail to understand. And the funniest point is, you are making fun of these people and you think you're better than these people, and live in Europe or America or Canada, wherever you live, and you have always someone else make you feel you're not good enough because of your skin color, because of your religion, because you're an ethnic person, because your language is not really pure and fluent. And yet, whatever is being forced upon you, you're being oppressed, or you're being discriminated, or you face racism in your life, you are continuing the same cycle to someone else. But yet call yourself a Muslim. To me, it's a disgrace. To me, it's a disgrace. It's the most disgusting thing I've ever lived with, I ever heard. I can give you even stories as a girl, again, with super fair skin, and I have friends who are mostly Sudanese, mostly Africans. We get along. I don't know. It's not obviously intended to have only African friends. And countless and numerous of times while I was living in the Gulf, I heard the comment that, why would you even sit with them? Why would a girl like you be friends with them? Why would a girl like you date someone who's, I don't know, Sudanese, Nigerian, whatsoever? Why? They are not presentable. You cannot go with them to a hotel. It's so embarrassing. How many times did I see people stopping, wallahi stopping, when they see me sit with a black guy, and people who know me? Why? They think it just doesn't get into their brain, as if me being with a white guy or me having white friends is gonna make life better, or they're gonna improve my life, or we're gonna have the same jokes, or it's not even that me looking for black people, obviously not. When it happens, it happens. When the vibes are right, when the vibes are right. But it's just hurt me so many times knowing that they feel when people stop and stare. They know when they hear the comments from the people. I just sometimes don't know what to say. I heard so many things while being with them. And I'm like, it's disgusting, but we, honestly speaking, we do have to stand up for them. Sometimes they don't stand up for themselves. You know why? Because they heard it so many times that they don't even bother anymore. But it does bother. It does bother when you say you are a goddamn Muslim person. It does bother, and it should bother, and it should be spoken to in that second, even if you're gonna have this for the rest of your life. And I know racism existed prior to Islam. It exists meanwhile, and it exists now, and it will exist forever. We're sure, we know this, it's no-brainer. However, it's our duty as Muslim people to stop it. Other than that, wallahi, I'm sorry, I don't know how you consider yourself a Muslim. I don't know how you identify as a Muslim person, the follower of the Prophet, Sayyidina Muhammad. I mean, I'm using my hands a lot. I know it's really infuriating and it's really disgusting. I don't understand at any point in life someone can think this way. Please, just a reminder, think you are in the presence of the Prophet. I'm not even going higher and tell you you are at the presence of Allah who created you. If you don't feel you're gonna cry, you feel you are so if you don't feel the power of that sentence, then there's deeply something wrong with you. Deeply something wrong with you. And I really I wouldn't know exactly what to tell you. However, please make sure on a daily basis to remember that. If you say something in that sense, if you say any racist comment, even if you think it's not racist, but anything negative towards any other person based on his color, please think that the Prophet would be standing next to you and he would be hear your discussion. If you're going to continue saying these words, I truly dare you. I truly don't believe that one person out there who considers himself Muslim would continue this discussion. He would think about it a million times. He would feel ashamed, embarrassed, and he would feel a disgrace for the Muslim community. If this is too uncomfortable for you to hear, if this is too awkward, if you feel attacked, honestly speaking, I'm not here to make you feel comfortable. I'm not here to make you feel, oh my God. I'm not here to make you feel I'm not here to make you feel comfortable. I'm here to speak the truth. And I believe there are so many people obviously out there that's speaking the truth. They are standing for the good thing. Whether they are North Africans, Middle Eastern, or can be also a Pakistani, Nepali, whatever Asian region you are, from the Muslim community. And I really hope, I'm not gonna say I really hope you like this video, because honestly speaking, it's not for people to like it. I know a lot of people will backlash. I know a lot of people would hate when I say these things. I truly don't care. We have to finally, I'm not gonna say stop it. It's not gonna stop overnight. We have to start diminishing. We have to start reflecting on our own behavior. Forget what your friend's saying. Forget what your cousin is saying, because your cousin does not want to sit with someone who's, darker skin, or his daughter is not allowed to marry someone who's, from, Senegal or Tanzania, Kenya, whatever it may be. Think about you going to God another day. Think about your deeds. Think about that human you're gonna make feel so bad. He's gonna go to sleep feeling hurt daily, but you were the reason. You were the reason. If you're gonna continue with that life, it's up to you. So please share, please be strong, please be faithful to yourself, please be faithful to your religion and the Prophet. Just be faithful to your sunnah, that's it. There's not much to say to this. There's no formula for this. There is no, let's do this, let's do that. As Muslim people, that's the only formula. Just, yeah. Okay guys, I leave you with this video and let's hope for the better in the future. Bye.
First thing that I like to point out just before delving into the video itself is that I've noticed that most of Africans in North Africa, they don't like being called Africans. Rather, they like being called Arabs. I don't know if there is a thick line between the two, but I do believe in ethnicity. As long as you're in Africa, you should be considered African. Rather, you consider yourself an Arab, but first you're an African. You are born in an African land. You've been breathing African air. In as much as in those areas people don't practice more of it in the African culture rather than the Arab culture, because African culture is so diversified, and the intergenerational marriages, you understand that these things really happen. So I don't get if there is a much big difference for a person who is staying in, for example, Algeria, saying that they are not Africans, rather they are saying that they are Arabs. Getting so hard to, get to understand what they're really trying to say about this issue. Remember in the past in Africa, and also I'd like to bring this to your attention. This happens especially in the coastal regions. See, people want to be other people. They want to live who they are. They want to be other people. And I've noticed that this thing is something which has been happening. The skin bleaching products, most of them are in most of them are in the coastal parts of Africa, So when there's the coastal parts of Africa, it means that, entirely the coastal parts they are influenced by, the Arab. So we have also blacks who are in these places. And when we have blacks are in these places, they're using these bleaching products to change their skin, to change how they look. And so you're losing yourself. You're losing who you are to be other person who you don't. Other person who, if they are on your shoes, they might not feel proud of them. And this reminds me of a sad story. Back in the then, a black person or Africans were taught to believe that having a dark skin is not something which was so bad. And it was so painful to see a black person scraping off his skin, blood oozing all over their body just to be white. And the same thing is what some Africans are doing today, especially who are in the north part of Africa and the coastal parts of Africa because of the Arab. Now they are ingrained in this culture that for you to be pleasant, for you to be good looking, for you to be somebody who can be considered in a society, you have to look in a given way. And now they're doing this. They're taking this medicine. Some are also taking these pills. And if you are one of them, I don't know if you're doing it because of beauty. I don't know if you're doing it because it feels good, but I'm not trying to attack you. But I'm just trying to tell you that, it's okay to have what you have and be happy for it. Because let me tell you something that you don't know. White people today, you're asking yourself, why are we seeing a lot of interracial marriages? Because they want the melanin. The melanin, it's so important. While you are scrapping away the melanin outside your body. You don't know what you're exposing yourself to, the ultraviolet rays. There is this condition. I don't know how it's called. It's called something phenanoma. I don't know. I've forgotten the exact name. You're losing your melanin, and later on you're gonna get some diseases like skin cancer. So it is to your advantage. Just keep it, and black is beautiful. You don't have to be so light-skinned, And even if our light-skinned brothers and sisters, you are also beautiful. But for a black person, you don't have to change who you are to be other person. It doesn't really make even sense. So I'm going to read you some comments about people who ever experienced this in their lives. And this Arab woman appears to be one of the people who shared their experiences. So, somebody said, Jahalia is a state of mind, not a period of time. Just because you are born and raised in Muslim society doesn't mean that Islam and its teaching are in your heart and mind. Most people wear their religion like a coat. They put it on public by following traditions, etc. But underneath, they wearing dirty rags. I think this is where it's all. It doesn't so differentiated from African. From Christianity. Let me don't take you out of the context. But what I want you to understand is this: we have people who are racist, right? They are racist, but they're also Christians, right? So when they're racist and they're also Christians, there's a conflict between Christianity, the teachings of Christianity and also the teachings of their traditions. Their traditions are I mean, their tradition teaches them to maybe underlook or maybe to downgrade a person who doesn't look like them. While they claim themselves they are Christians, but they go to church, yet church itself it's against this. Now you find this internal conflict between this kind of people, and this has deviated so much with what this brother is trying to say. We have Jahalalial, and he says that Jahalalial is a state of mind, not a period of time. Just because you are born and raised in a Muslim society doesn't mean that Islam and its teachings are in your heart and mind. Most people wear their religion like a coat. They put it on in public following traditions, but underneath they are dirty rags. What I know, I'm not a Muslim or something, but I know most of Arabs are Islam. Most of them are Islam. The Muslim teachings are, even the Quran itself, it's against colorism. The Quran itself, it's against racism. So you get to understand the issue and bridge the gap between the two, because there is some internal conflict. Some people, their traditions have taught them to be like that, you know. Somebody is saying, you can't really change someone. They have to want to change themselves. Sad fact of life. Some people are so really ingrained into this type of lifestyle, you know. They're ingrained to be this. Somebody will say, I'm not even gonna lie, this happens in Pakistani community. Dhaka Pakistanis are treated like lower class citizens. I'm quite pale for Pakistan, and it's seen as better, and a lot of Pakistanis use skin bleaching to make themselves having lighter skin. Dang, this is the same thing I've said. Look, it's also happening in the Pakistani. The same exact thing that I've just said, it's also happening in the Pakistani. If you look a little bit darker, you are in a lower class. If you look a little bit lighter, now you are being considered as a person in the society. And this doesn't deviate even in African countries, the coastal region of our African countries. We have this bleach skin product because people believe that people associate beauty with being light. Beauty comes in different forms, not just being light, you know. So there's a person who doesn't experience racism, but he comes out and says it clearly that people who are darker in the Pakistani community are considered to be dark, are considered to be low class, are considered to be subhuman because they're put as lower class, you know. And this also reminds me what happens to Afro-Hispanics. This also reminds me of what happens to Afro-Mexicans, Afro-Brazilians. It keeps on happening. You're considered someone who is lower because you kind of look at, you look in a different way, which I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay. But we should not discriminate people because of just how they look. That's our own way to tackle things. I mean, it's not even right in the first place. Somebody said that it's better to hear a Tunisian say the truth about their people. It is true that people need to talk about their people, because if you don't talk about it, it won't bring any change. And I'm saying this because we have our black people who have intermarried with these people. And now the kids are facing these problems. That's why I'm so into them and to talk about it. And I feel like I'm obliged to share this with you, and share the experiences, because this is the sister of the guy who experiencing racism because of his color, you know. Somebody is saying, Mashallah, you are so meaningful. May Allah continue to bless you. I wish you can give more talks like this. Yeah, because you gotta come out and talk about these things, you know. Somebody is saying, it is very hard for an Arab family to accept a black person in things like marriage, even if they are Muslim. Yeah, I think that's why I'm not saying it's not about the religion. It's not about the religion. It's about the traditions of these people. Because if this is a Muslim person and you're a little bit darker, you're being asked questions, you know. And this also happens in Indian community. This also happens in Afro-Hispanic community. And this is something which happens, and I feel like we need to address it, you know. Somebody is saying that I certainly know that there is racism in the Arab world and mindset. I'm African American Muslim and I'm always discriminated against all the time by restaurant owners. Every time I come in to eat, I always ask his wife, who is also part owner, also what's good to eat today. If he recognizes my voice, he'll come out the kitchen just to watch me, keep his eyes watching me the entire time, and never does this to no other person in the restaurant. Plus, from time to time, he'll start an argument with his wife in Arabic, making insulting remarks, asking her if she had a chance, in known she'll jump at any chance to sleep with me. And all these insulting disrespect comments like that all time. After I had enough of this, I stopped eating there. The food was good, plentiful. The employees nice, niece. Okay, the employees niece, the wife is nice, and people's person. But her husband is another story. I think it is trying to say that he faced racism. At some point, the husband of this wife of the restaurant that he went was not nice to him because he addressed this African American Muslim in a bad way that he never agreed with. So he thought that the lady might end up sleeping with this African American Muslim. So he never wanted him, and the guy had to leave. Just because a person is black doesn't guarantee you to treat him the way you want to treat them. It ain't right, folks. Somebody's saying, Afghan American and went to an Islamic school for 8 years. It turned me into an ex-Muslim. The racism I experienced from Arabs still has profound impact on myself, what 15 years later. I know it's crazy. And he continues by saying, the pain and devastation Islam has caused. Please rethink it. You seem like good soul for Islam. Start by removing the oppression that is forced on women off your head. Because mostly if you try to listen to what Arab women say, they don't have a problem, having black men, you know, and I hope that you've seen these clips. They don't have a problem having black men, but their society won't agree to them. They fear being banished. They fear being abandoned. They fear being disowned. So that's why they don't want to do this, and their culture has is retardating them from seeing other people who are equally potential, even sometimes more than their men, you know. Somebody also said, with the marriage thing, many people are still against mixed marriages. I know lots of African friends who will disown their children if they married a white person. This is a topic for another day that we also need to talk about because it looks different for a black person. Look at the economic disparities. Look at the medical disparities that blacks and whites have been having. So to them, it might be a betrayal, but I don't want to delve much into it because I feel like this is a topic for another day. We can set aside some day and talk about this. Somebody said, Prophet Muhammad was not racist or a bigot, and racism and bigotry is not allowed in Islam. It is true many Arabs that I have met are racist. They claim to be following the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, not realizing what they are saying in their behavior is that Prophet Muhammad was a racist and bigot, and that there is another God beside Allah that created the other people. Allah forgive us when those in question is those that are racist, who they are praying to, but Satan. They do not realize that this is one of the reasons why Muslims are suffering around the world. They hate the creation of Allah. Many that may read this is not going to like what is written here or what you are saying. They will say this is not true. knowing it is very true. So it's so true that it's sickening. As long as we or they try to hide this evil among us, it will continue. What you are saying is the truth. These people have mental sickness. They truly believe in Allah and they are not following the Prophet. Their behavior is a lie. They what they want for themselves. Basing on this saying, many of them are not true believers. They are the true color people because they are people of color minds. Taqwa, they do not understand what it means. Taqwa should be the ultimate result of forms of worship. The Quran says, people worship your Rabb, who created you and those before you, so that you may guard against evil. A person with taqwa is said to have a superior state of art, which keeps person aware of Allah's presence and His knowledge all the time and induces him to carry out honorable deeds and avoid forbidden ones. Racism is forbidden in religion of Islam. And this is something which I've been saying for quite a number of time, and I've been saying for quite a number of time, because they have the internal conflict between you as a person and your traditions and what your religion teaches you. So guys, I don't want to go much about this, but I feel like it was good talking about this issue. Feel free to tell me about what you think about this issue in the comment section. Until then, this is your presenter, Eugene Toki Stories. Let's meet on the other side. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.